look forward to supporting this bill, and we know, sir, that the thousands of New Zealanders listening as this passage of the bill goes forward will thank us for that. Kia ora
but that
tātou.
his time has expired.
Mr. Speaker, if there ever was a moment to talk about insurance, it's to talk about that gentleman and the Labour Party need for insurance right now. You see, you can't insure political parties, unfortunately, but this bill is all talking about the potential for the insurance, and you can't talk about mislaid documents, and you can't insure for misused bits of paper that could disappear. But you can insure against other financial misfortune, Mr. Speaker, and that's what this bill is all about. The ability to take into account Prudential issues in the insurance sector. Because every now and again you might get waylaid or disasters may strike. Documents get misplaced, things go disastrously wrong, and then in that situation you never know what might happen. You never know where things might end up. Exactly, Mr. Garrett. But look, I just want to talk seriously about two aspects of this bill that serious aspects about the issues around the solvency requirements. Because it's very important that insurance companies are kept solvent for Kiwi mums and dads. Because you never know who may be invested and have their money covered in those insurance companies, either to cover unaffected circumstances like life insurance, income replacement insurance. Because you never quite know when you might need income replacement insurance. And I think there might be some people who would be very interested in that right now about how safe their money is in relating to income replacement insurance policies. And I must think I'm quite relaxed about that, I think I must say. I mean, I'm quite lucky, I'm fortunate. I'm very happy with my situation of insurance at the moment. My insurance, life insurance, is invested with a very safe company, and it's only going to be made safer by this bill, and I think this is a great thing. The solvency requirements in this bill are going to be taken into account and improve the ability of Kiwi mums and dads to have their companies a little bit safer. But I think I'd be a bit worried if I was in the Labour Party about maybe where their companies may be, because they take into account where it might be in terms of where their investments might be taken into account and the issues of solvency, whether it's invested in real estate or other things. And the Reserve Bank's put in place some very good rules and to take into account, make sure Kiwi mums and dads have their monies nice and safe in insurance companies. Mr. Speaker, I'll talk about quickly one other thing. That's the issue around captive insurance companies. This bill actually allows captives to thrive, particularly captives that are New Zealand-based captives, to be able to operate within a regulatory arrangement, and that's quite good for those big companies in New Zealand that particularly operate large infrastructure businesses. I know we had the infrastructure bill earlier, and that these sort of companies like to self-insure their major assets through New Zealand-owned and operated captives, and this bill goes a long way to assist them to continue to operate, Mr. Speaker, and I think that's a really good thing. These are companies like, particularly big SOEs like Solid Energy, Kiwi Rail, Transpower, as well as other big entities operating in the infrastructure space, and I think that's got to be a highly positive thing for the hard-working people who use those services to have the trust and knowledge that those assets will be better and more safely looked after because of this bill. And this bill, I think, Mr. Speaker, when we went through, there was some touching on by the great work the Finance and Expenditure Committee did on this bill, and I'd like to thank my colleague who's just actually left, the Deputy Chair, who did a lot of the work during the submission phases, and I think Amy Adams has got to be congratulated for the work she did in that work in that area, particularly because the Chair was quite busy doing other things every now and again, and that was she did a very, very good job in terms of things that were going on through the submissions. There were about 50-odd submissions, and we heard about 30 of those, and they were very varied, and particularly the airline pilots one I vividly remember, and I think there were many comments about the Airline Pilots Association and the worries about they had around insurance and the importance of those people who fly a lot. I think would be very concerned about the issues around the Airline Pilots Association and the need to make sure that they were adequately insured so the planes can keep flying, so members of Parliament, if they choose to, can continue to travel overseas. And there were some concerns about that. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to wrap it up there because this bill is pretty much self-explanatory. People are comfortable with it across the House, and there's pretty much unanimous acceptance that this is a good step in the right direction by the hard-working John Key government. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I call Stuart Nash.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.